Welcome to Dangerville. Regarding MonsterVerse Godzilla, how can it get any stronger in the future of his story in this franchise? Especially after this, and don't forget this. But within Godzilla's history may lie the answer of how the MonsterVerse can bring Godzilla to the next level in terms of sheer, unrelenting power. Real quick though, stomp that subscribe button, hit the bell, and leave us a comment about which of Godzilla's impressive feats of strength you are most impressed of. So before we get to my theory on how Godzilla can amp up his game, let's go down memory lane and recap some of Godzilla's more impressive abilities within the MonsterVerse so far. The Kiss of Death. We all remember this as MonsterVerse Goji's first spectacular fatality. After some Godzilla-sized blue balls were given to us viewers throughout that 2014 film, it all climaxed with this amazing scene. No matter if it was the very first time you saw this in theaters or for the 10th time at home, this kill is still rewarding to watch. Not because the attack is super powerful, actually quite the opposite. This atomic blast was at a weakened state, meaning it couldn't blast straight through the target like you would expect. But this weaker stream of energy made it much worse for the female Mechado. We've seen a lot of the MonsterVerse since this scene, but in my opinion, it's still the best fatality we've seen yet coming from the G-Man. But let's move on. The Mechado Prime killing Nuclear Pulse. Now, tons of fans probably have missed this one, since it took place in a comic which a large amount of the fans tend to just glare over, which go check out Al's video detailing the new MonsterVerse comic Fight or Flight when you're done here. But within Godzilla Aftershock, the G-Man performed one of his most powerful attacks ever, the Nuclear Pulse, against his species' mortal enemy, the Mechado Prime. This attack left the Prime incapacitated and vulnerable to Godzilla's killing strike. However, it took a special chain of events in order for this attack to happen. During the battle, the Mechado Prime managed to destroy Godzilla's dorsal plates using its sonic roar. But with his spines broken, the vast amounts of energy within his body came rushing out. This allowed Godzilla to release the energy in one immense charge of focused power, the classic atomic blast. In King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong, we've seen a Godzilla who had become one with his atomic breath ability. This attack was accurate, powerful, and insanely effective. Nothing special, but this ability is still noteworthy due to its clear effectiveness against Ghidorah and Kong. Thermonuclear Pulse. Just like the attack seen in Aftershock, the Thermonuclear Pulse was a devastating release of energy stored within Godzilla's body, only this time, it was powered up to the ultimate level. This attack was yet again, though, the result of a chain of very specific events that allowed it to happen. Godzilla needed to have the atomic bomb blown up in its face, and needed Mothra to sacrifice her life essence into him in order for him to reach this insane level of power. To this day, this attack is the most powerful attack MonsterVerse Godzilla has ever performed, and may always stay that way, but since it was only able to happen thanks to external factors, that's always going to leave an asterisk beside the fatality as being number one in my eyes. But tell me what you think. The Atomic Drill. Now, this ability wasn't necessarily an attack, but drilling down to the center of the Earth, which is thousands of miles beneath the surface, is literally one of the most impressive things Godzilla has ever done. Why did he do it? I have no idea. But just imagine if Godzilla focused this beam on a target enemy instead of the ground. There would have been nothing left. Which finally gets us to the theory on how Godzilla can get even more powerful in Godzilla the New Empire. If we look to the past, we don't have to go very far back in the grand scheme of things. In the Heisei era of Godzilla movies, Godzilla was at his peak. On top of his standard atomic blast, this Godzilla eventually gained his most deadly attack, the Spiral Heat Ray, where Godzilla's standard atomic blast was around 500,000 degrees Celsius. This Spiral Heat Ray was clocked in at over 1 million degrees Celsius. An unfathomable amount of heat. Now there's no way to tell if this is comparable to MonsterVerse Godzilla's blast statistics. But even if we don't know the specifics of the MonsterVerse Goji Atomic Blast, we know that whatever is twice as hot as this must be insane. The Spiral Heat Ray could even grow more powerful as well, as during his burning state, it is said that the attack would become more powerful after every use. practically becoming infinitely powerful. The spiral heat ray is the natural progression of Godzilla's power if the creators want to continue to use the legacy of the monsters, see what I did there, to help build the future. Just imagine the Thermonuclear Pulse, but in a controlled, focused beam attack. Sounds pretty cool, and it would punch a hole through anything. But to get to this level of power, we already know that Godzilla needs help. But with Mothra gone, we think, and the idea of blowing up more bombs in his face not being very smart, how can this happen? The Hollow Earth energy. If the G-Man manages to make it to the Hollow Earth and become one with the power that rushes through that land, we could see Godzilla capable of using a modernized version of the spiral heat ray. And he will need an attack that powerful if he means to challenge one of the greatest titans to ever live in this universe, and an army led by a diabolical Kong. With a vibrant red glow, MonsterVerse Godzilla could become even more powerful than we could have ever imagined. If this does indeed happen, not only will it please the Toho fans of the franchise, but it would make all the new fans grin with joy as Godzilla shreds through his opponents. We all know how much you love to see Godzilla kick ass. Now before we go, I have a special announcement coming from Dope Pope. If you live in the New York area and you love kaiju and monsters, there's an upcoming event you should try to make it to. Kaiju Brooklyn is a one-day kaiju-themed event celebrating all things Japanese giant monsters like Godzilla, Ultraman, Power Rangers, and more. The show will take place inside the popular and massively sized Industry City at the Tom Kane Theater in Building 5. Kaiju Brooklyn will feature plenty of kaiju toy vendors as well as kaiju artists selling prints like Dope Pope, and much more, along with a screening inside the complex at the end of the event. So if you want to get tickets, you can purchase them right now actually, and I will leave a link down below if you want to make it out to that event. Go say hi to Dope Pope and tell him Dangerville sent you. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want more MonsterVerse theory videos like this, you know what to do. Subscribe and do all that YouTube stuff, and share this video around to get the algorithm all fired up. And I want to give a massive, huge thank you and shout out to Moistaman, who allowed me to use some of his animations in this video and kind of give it a little bit of that extra flair. So if you haven't already, go check out his channel and consider subscribing. He makes some kick-ass little animations if you're a big Godzilla fan. Anyway guys, this has been Jacob, and I will see you in the next one.